Welcome to the Presence of Being podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I'm going to read from Stillness Speaks today, which is one of my favorite books from Eckhart Tolle. Before getting into this recording, I would like to say, if you haven't filled out the Google form yet or signed up for the email list for the hats, both links will be in the description. The Google form is so you can let me know what kind of designs, what kind of colors you would like to see for the upcoming hat drop that we're doing. So this is one of the options that I'm thinking about restocking. My hat is worn in, so if there's like wrinkles and stuff, it's because I wear it literally every single day. But this is one of the hats that I'm going to be restocking, just a classic Presence of Being with the palm tree. So that hat specifically was already launched and I'm going to restock it and bring it back. But I want to know other colors, other designs. Let me know. You can fill out everything in the Google form. And also there will be a link to sign up for the email list. I've said this before in my last recordings, but if you sign up for the email list, since there's only a very limited quantity of hats, if you sign up, you will be notified first when the website is unlocked and the hats are ready to be released. So you'll have first access to the website when the hats launch. I genuinely appreciate everyone's support when it comes to this. All the feedback I've been getting, all the comments, DMs, it genuinely from the bottom of my heart means the world to me. On the surface, it seems that the present moment is only one of many, many moments. Each day of your life appears to consist of thousands of moments where different things happen. Yet, if you look more deeply, is there not only one moment ever? Is life ever not this moment? This one moment, now, is the only thing you can never escape from, the one constant factor in your life. No matter what happens, no matter how much your life changes, one thing is certain, it's always now. Since there is no escape from the now, why not welcome it, become friendly with it? When you make friends with the present moment, you feel at home no matter where you are. When you don't feel at home in the now, no matter where you go, you will carry unease with you. The present moment is as it is, always. Can you let it be? The division of life into past, present, and future is mind-made and ultimately illusory. Past and future are thought forms, mental abstractions. The past can only be remembered now. What you remember is an event that took place in the now, and you remember it now. The future, when it comes, is the now. So the only thing that is real, the only thing there ever is the now. To have your attention in the now is not a denial of what is needed in your life. It is recognizing what is primary. Then you can deal with what is secondary with great ease. It is not saying I'm not dealing with things anymore because there is only the now. No. Find what is primary first and make the now into your friend, not your enemy. Acknowledge it, honor it. When the now is the foundation and primary focus of your life, then your life unfolds with ease. Putting away the dishes, drawing up a business strategy, planning a trip. What is more important, the doing or the result that you want to achieve through the doing? This moment or some future moment? Do you treat this moment as if it were an obstacle to be overcome? Do you feel you have a future moment to get to that is more important? Almost everyone lives like this most of the time. Since the future never arrives except as the present, it is a dysfunctional way to live. It generates a constant undercurrent of unease, tension, and discontent. It does not honor life, which is now and never not now. Feel the aliveness within your body that anchors you in the now. Ultimately, you are not taking responsibility for life until you take responsibility for this moment, now. This is because now is the only place where life can be found. Taking responsibility for this moment means not to oppose internally the suchness of now, not to argue with what is. It means to be in alignment with life. The now is as it is because it cannot be otherwise. What Buddhists have always known, physicists now confirm. There is no isolated things or events. Underneath the surface appearance, all things are interconnected, are part of the totality of the cosmos that has brought about the form that this moment takes. When you say yes to what is, you become aligned with the power and intelligence of life itself. Only then can you become an agent for positive change in the world. A simple but radical spiritual practice is to accept whatever arises in the now, within and without. When your attention moves into the now, there is an alertness. It is as if you were waking up from a dream, the dream of thought, the dream of past and future. Such clarity, such simplicity, no room for problem making, just this moment as it is. The moment you enter the now with your attention, you realize that life is sacred. There is a sacredness to everything you perceive when you are present. The more you live in the now, the more you sense the simple yet profound joy of being and the sacredness of all life. Most people confuse the now with what happens in the now, but that's not what it is. The now is deeper than what happens in it. It is the space in which it happens. So do not confuse the content of this moment with the now. The now is deeper than any content that arises in it. When you step into the now, you step out of the content of your mind. The incessant stream of thinking slows down. Thoughts don't absorb all your attention anymore, don't draw you in totally. Gaps arise in between thoughts, spaciousness, stillness. You begin to realize how much vaster and deeper you are than your thoughts. Thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions, and whatever you experience make up the content of your life. My life is what you derive your sense of self from, and my life is content, or so you believe. You continuously overlook the most obvious fact. Your innermost sense of I am has nothing to do with what happens in your life, nothing to do with content. That sense of I am is one with the now. It always remains the same. In childhood and old age, in health or sickness, in success or failure, the I am, the space of now, remains unchanged at its deepest level. It usually gets confused with content, and so you experience I am or the now only faintly and indirectly through the content of your life. In other words, your sense of being becomes obscured by circumstances, your stream of thinking, and the many things of this world. The now becomes obscured by time. And so you forget your rootedness in being, your divine reality, and lose yourself in the world. Confusion, anger, depression, violence, and conflict arise when humans forget who they are. Yet how easy is it to remember the truth and thus return home? I am not my thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions, and experiences. I am not the content of my life. I am life. I am the space in which all things happen. I am consciousness. I am the now. I am. I talk about the present moment all the time because I think it's very significant. And when I started making a habit to spend more time consciously in the present moment, my life changed for the better. The book that I just read from is called Stillness Speaks from Eckhart Tolle. You may have heard of Eckhart Tolle. He wrote The Power of Now and A New Earth. And within all these books, very central theme is all about living more consciously in the present moment and learning to befriend the present moment rather than always thinking that there is something more important than the now. But if the only thing that we ever experience is the now, then how could anything be more important? Really sit with that and think about that, because that's what I did. And then I started to realize, why am I spending so much time being anxious about what might happen in the future? And why am I thinking about all this random crap that happened in the past when I could be here? And realize that the things that I do now, who I am in the now, how I show up and carry myself in the present moment, is quite literally going to determine how I will show up and what my relationship is going to be like in the so-called future, which is just going to be another present moment. When you can make the present moment a friend and spend more of your time and attention in presence, you actually take a look around and notice what's in your environment rather than labeling everything in your environment. When you aren't so identified with every single thought that you have, you give yourself time to slow down, start enjoying like the little things that you do in life, insignificant things. That's when more joy, more aliveness really starts to come in. You can experience all those things and be grateful for those things. If you think that there's some future point that you need to get to feel joy, aliveness, fulfillment, satisfaction, happiness, you can experience it now. Just start making this moment a priority. There's really nothing more important, because this is all we have. I've read The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle in a different podcast recording. I've read from A New Earth from Eckhart Tolle in a different recording as well. I wanted to read from the chapter, The Now. It's called Chapter 4, The Now. That chapter in particular really stood out to me, but I've read this book many different times. But whenever I feel like I'm overthinking things, like I said, I'm too caught up, thinking about the future, what might happen in the future, how things are going to line up, or I just continuously look back and think about the past, mistakes that may have happened, or things that happened in the past. Whenever I feel like overwhelmed, like I said, I like to return to this book. Really any Eckhart Tolle video, any Eckhart Tolle book, but I was drawn to Stillness Speaks again. So I started reading it, and I think this is my favorite book. Like, if I could recommend one book that people, if you're interested in learning more about how to live life in the now, how to spend more time consciously in presence, this is the book that I would recommend, Stillness Speaks. It's a short read. It's very easy to read. It's very easy to grasp, but just the way in which Eckhart in the book talks about presence, it's very, it's hard to put into words, but it's just so, so good. And I highly, highly recommend it. I feel like for a lot of people who have listened to my podcast, obviously, I talk about presence all the time. I think it's so important, but you've probably read The Power of Now. You've probably read A New Earth. Those are two very popular books. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Stillness Speaks. I don't see a lot of people talking about Stillness Speaks. So if you haven't picked this book up yet, I highly, highly recommend you read it. And I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. The only thing that we experience is the now. How can there be a more important moment than now if the only thing that exists is the now? I was thinking about that point, and I was reading this book, and I wanted to make this recording and read from it and talk about this, because if you actually sit with that and think about it, think about what that actually means. How can there be a more important moment than the now if the only thing that we experience is the now? If there's a goal that you are trying to get to, a destination, a place that you want to get to, think about what your relationship with the now is while you pursue that goal. If you don't feel happy or content here and now, if you feel like there's something that you need to get to, a place that you need to arrive at in order to feel the way that you want to feel, or you think that is just more significant, think again. The only thing that we experience is here, is now. And your relationship with the now is going to determine what your relationship is like in the so-called future. Who you are and how you show up in the present moment and your relationship with the now, like I said, is going to determine your relationship in the future and who you are in the future, who you are going to be in the future, how you show up in the so-called future. And I've made videos talking about this in the past, TikTok videos, podcast recordings, just talking about the importance of the step that you're currently taking on your journey and how there is significance in the step that you are currently taking. There is significance in the present moment. How could there not be? It's the most important thing that we experience. It's the only thing that we experience. So as you pursue a specific goal, if you have a goal in mind, whatever the case is, how can you spend more of your energy, more of your time in the now, and realize that there's significance in the now? What we focus on expands. So when you focus your energy and attention consciously on being more present, you're going to feel more at peace. You're going to feel more joy. You're going to feel more whole, more full and complete. And you're going to realize that your happiness is not dependent on some external factor. And you don't need to arrive somewhere to feel happy or satisfied or fulfilled internally. If you are, wherever you are listening to this, wherever you are watching this, if you can just take a conscious deep breath, be here, be in the moment. If you're outside listening to this, just look around. Wherever you are, notice something that you maybe haven't noticed before. Just be here, be in the moment. There is significance in this moment. If you focus more of your energy in the now, let's say you meditate, for example, you're going to notice that there are gaps and spaces that happen or that occur in between the thoughts that you have. And by focusing your energy and attention on those little gaps, those gaps get bigger. Slowly over time, they get bigger. And if you can just focus your energy and attention on those gaps, like it's a nice place to be. You realize that like you can not think. Like you don't have to think all the time. And not only do you not have to think, but you also don't need to identify yourself with your thoughts when your thoughts do pop up. People have like, I don't know, thousands of thoughts every single day. You don't need to identify yourself with them. You don't need to derive your self-worth from them. And like I said, if you meditate, you start meditating consistently, you're going to notice that there are gaps in between your thoughts. And those gaps will get bigger the more time you spend in presence. And like I said, it's a really nice place to be where you're just not thinking. You're just observing. You're just present. You're still. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit crazy here talking about this, but I genuinely think this is so important. How could there be a more significant moment than this moment if this is the only moment that we have? The actionable piece of advice that I would like to give in this recording is today, wherever you are listening to this, how could you spend more time consciously in the present moment? Wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing, how can you spend more time in presence today? Whether that be spending 5 to 10 minutes in meditation, great. Whether that be going for a walk and just noticing everything around you in your environment and not attaching yourself to the thoughts that come up or not labeling everything in your environment. Wherever you are today, how can you spend more time consciously in presence? And I promise you that if you make this moment a priority, you start spending more time consciously in the now, watch how your life gets better. Even in the smallest of ways, watch how you feel more inner peace. Watch how you start feeling more whole and full and complete right here, right now. Like I said, the book that I read from today is called Stillness Speaks from Eckhart Tolle. I highly, highly recommend it. Eckhart Tolle is the author of The Power of Now and a New Earth. Also incredible reads. Highly recommend those as well. But that's really all I wanted to get across in this video. Just make presence a priority, and I promise you, life is going to just get a lot better, way more enjoyable, more ease, more flow, more rhythm. You're going to experience it all. Before closing off here and rounding off this episode, I would like to say again, if you haven't filled out the Google form or signed up for the email list for the hats, you can do so in the description of this video and also on Spotify and Apple. If you're just listening to the audio version of this, it'll be in the description as well. Fill out the Google form if you want to just give me some input on what kind of designs and hats you want to see for the upcoming hat release, as well as signing up for the email list. You'll be notified first when the hats drop. Absolutely, any feedback, all feedback would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening again. It genuinely means the world to me, the community that we're building. If you have any comments or questions or anything, you know where to find me. You can DM me on Instagram at Presence of Being. Join the community over there if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you again for being here. I will see you in the next recording.